Good evening, everyone. Oh, we're so excited for our future and ready to roll Bridgewater State University Bears. Welcome, students and families. I'm Dr. Joe Oravec, your Vice President for Student Affairs and Enrollment Management. Before we begin our town hall, there are a few items to assist you in this virtual experience. Now, this is a live Zoom webinar, which is different from typical Zoom events. A live webinar allows the speaker or speakers to be the main focal point. What this means is that all participant videos and microphones have been disabled. You will be able to view and hear our speakers. We can't see you, although you can see us. This also means that the chat feature has been turned off, but please do know that all the content covered this evening was informed by your questions and submissions. If we miss a question or concern that you have, you'll be provided a contact list with email addresses, and we strongly encourage you to use the COVID email address, which we will show at the end of our broadcast. We'll provide that email again at the end of our session. Many people from around our BSU community are excited to answer your questions and ease your concerns to their best ability. If at any point you experience technical issues, please know you can re-enter the event using the same link provided. This event will be recorded for your convenience. As we proceed, we have a variety of categories or topics that your questions allow themselves to fall under. The categories that we will be discussing this evening involve academics, access to technology, student supports, our financial aid and support, testing and tracing, cleaning and disinfecting, residence life, and student life. As we begin, we again so appreciate you taking the time. Throughout the academic year, the BSU community comes together so important information can be shared, as well as provided with appropriate updates. These town halls are an important aspect of Bridgewater State University. They allow us to focus, to understand the bigger and greater picture of who we are as a BSU community and where we are going. To know where we are going, you need to have an exceptional visionary, leader, and friend to guide the way. It's my privilege to introduce to you that individual for Bridgewater State University, our president, Fred Clark. President Clark.
Thank you very much, Joe, and welcome everyone. I want to have a special thanks to our students and your families for joining us. And I want to thank at the outset our all-star panel here who've been assembled to answer many of your questions. But really, for our students and families, I want to just say thank you. Thank you for choosing Bridgewater State University. I graduated from BSU many years ago, and I was one of 6 kids. 5 of us went to this great university. I even met my wife, Carrie, here when we were students. I've sent my 2 sons to Bridgewater to learn, and my 16-year-old daughter is going to come to BSU, but she just doesn't know it yet. When you arrive at Bridgewater State, you will find what I found. One of New England's most beautiful campuses that features expert faculty and staff who are completely dedicated to the success of our students. Our facilities are exceptional, and the academic experiences and supports that we provide to students are, in a word, transformative. You made a good decision in choosing BSU for your college education. We also understand fully that the coronavirus pandemic has hit our students and their families hard. This virus is not to be taken lightly. And as the 5th safest campus in the United States, #1 in Massachusetts, your health and safety is our highest priority as we plan for the fall semester. Our safe return plan can be found on our main BSU website. And if you have a chance to review the plan, you will see that we have worked tirelessly to address every possible safety concern. The pandemic has also impacted the finances of our students and your families. Although we are already one of the most affordable four-year colleges in all of New England, we are in a strong position to further assist you, our students. We have already frozen all tuition and fees for the upcoming academic year at last year's amounts. We've increased local financial aid dollars for our students, and we've added a student emergency fund for next year with more than $3.4 million for students to address coronavirus impacts. A state subsidy of $50 million more and millions of dollars in federal, state, and private financial aid will ensure the affordability of a BSU education for each of you during this time of economic and social crisis. Finally, I want you to know that we are well prepared to begin the fall semester on time, to welcome our students to campus and to support each of you on your BSU journey. Fall semester will be different than past semesters for sure. It has to be to keep you safe, but you will receive a high quality education in a safe environment that will put you on a path to secure the job that you have always dreamed about. You can take advantage of every campus resource that we have available to enhance your growth and development, and you will meet lifelong friends along the way. Now is the time to lean into your education, not to stop out. Don't let this pandemic get in the way of the momentum and educational progress that you've already achieved. And we will do everything here at the university in our power to assist you on your journey. At BSU, we have an expression about student success. Every student, one student at a time. You will succeed, and we will be here to support you every step of the way, academically, financially, physically, and emotionally. Thanks again for choosing Bridgewater State University, and I look forward to meeting each of you in the fall. Back to you, Joe.
Thank you very much, President Clark. Again, we know you have chosen Bridgewater State University because of the robust academic programs, student-centered faculty, opportunities to learn from outstanding educators. That's who we are. The responsibility of those academic programs and the core academic experience rests with the Chief Academic Officer of the university, or commonly known as the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs. Please welcome our own Provost, Dr. Karim Ismaili. Dr. Ismaili?
Thank you very much, Joe. Good evening, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be with you today. During the past spring, we had the opportunity and need to abruptly move all of our classes online, just as you experienced in your senior year of high school or at your previous college or university. This fall at Bridgewater State University will be different. While most classes will be online, we are offering some classes in blended formats combining online and in-person instruction. We have worked closely with deans and with faculty members to make sure that all classes that need an in-person component have one. Over the past several months, we've invested in state-of-the-art technology and have provided faculty members with an opportunity to further develop their skills to ensure that we deliver the highest quality education at Bridgewater State. BSU cultivates academic excellence, innovation, and the love of learning, all in a rich environment that emphasizes high-quality co-curricular experiences. For example, we were recently recognized as one of the top 3 undergraduate research programs in the entire nation. You can learn about the world through our Institute for Global Engagement. You can participate in internships, engage in service and community-based learning, and collaborate with your peers on exciting projects. We also have a brand new makerspace on our campus. Even as we respond to the challenges of today, we are looking to preserve as much of the true Bridgewater experience as possible, and also offer an optimistic vision of the future. So I want to welcome all of you to Bridgewater State University.
Thank you very much, Provost Ismaili. The opportunity for you all to engage with peers, to make a difference at Bridgewater State University virtually and in person, to complement what you're learning with your faculty and applying that in so many other co-curricular experiences is part of the Bridgewater State University collegiate experience. For our student life and the opportunities that you're going to have, our staff is doing everything possible to ensure that there are opportunities for students to engage, participate in activities, to get to know each other, and to have fun. BSU, we are opening our residence halls for the fall semester. We are limiting residence hall rooms to no more than 2 people in a room. You may ask, why would I live in a residence hall if most of my classes are online? Well, even before COVID, we had many students takes courses online and still live in the residence halls. There are several advantages to this. Ease of accessing resources, the library, making friends, participating in clubs and organizations. We are doing everything to ensure the safety of our students. Testing will be available to all students, and all resident students will be tested every 2 weeks. We also have contact tracing and quarantine plans in place in the event of a student or faculty or staff member test positive. Our staff is doing everything possible to make sure that your health and safety are the paramount concerns for us. But we also need you. We need you, as President Clark indicated, we need for you to lean into this new environment that we're about to undertake. Everyone needs to do their part to keep our campus safe. Together, we will still make the fall semester a great semester. Thank you all for having submitted your questions to us in advance. Now we're going to move to our panelists who are here to answer those questions you submitted. If you sent specific questions about your situation, we're answering those directly to you. I will introduce panel members as we move forward through our different categories. And to remind you of the different categories that we will be discussing through our time together are our academics, access to technology, student supports, financial aid and support, testing and tracing, cleaning, disinfecting, residence life, and student life. So now we're going to talk about academics and our learning environment. And after academics and learning environment, we will be talking about financial aid and support and student supports. And I'd like to introduce to you our first panelist, Dr. Michael Young. Dr. Young is our Senior Associate Provost and Chief Data Officer for our academic affairs. Dr. Young, a few questions for you with regard to our learning environment. How and when, if I'm a student, how and when will I know if my classes are online or partly in person?
Thanks for the question, Joe, and good evening, everyone. A communication will be coming out tomorrow from the registrar that will provide a list of classes that will be partially taught in person on campus. Remember that most of our classes this fall will be taught online. Information on individual courses will be reflected in InfoBear by the end of July.
Great. And if my classes will be, obviously will be taught online, how will they be taught? What does that mean for me as a student?
So when courses are taught online, they're taught in one of three ways. One would be for the course to be taught fully online. So there's no scheduled virtual meetings, all assessments are conducted just as a standard online course. A second way that they could be offered is that it could be taught fully online with regularly scheduled days and times listed in InfoBear. So that essentially the course would still take place on the days and times that are listed in InfoBear currently, but they would be delivered online instead of in person. And then the third way is sort of a combination of those two, where the majority of the class is in a fully online form, and then there are some classes where they will have virtual meetings with the class, and the faculty member will inform students of when those days and times are. They will also be listed in InfoBear.
So those are online, but I've also now heard some students talk about these words such as hybrid or blended learning. Can you help us better understand what that means?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So when you're in a hybrid or a blended class, some of the class meetings will actually occur in person on campus over the course of the semester. The meeting days and times will be clearly communicated to the students, usually through the syllabus by the faculty member, so that they can plan their time. The days and times will be the days and times that they're accustomed to based on what they signed up for on the schedule, but they'll be periodic through the semester. Much of the course material will still be delivered online.
That helps to better understand the difference of the online and the hybrid and blended. Thank you very much, Dr.
Yeah, thank you, Joe.
So as a new student coming on in as an undergraduate, we're so fortunate to be able to have our Dean of Undergraduate Studies joining us, and that's Dr. Rita Miller. And Dr. Miller, a couple questions for you. Transitioning from high school, or if I've had time away before starting my undergraduate career, what can I do now to prepare for the coming semester?
Thanks for the question, Joe, and welcome everybody. I'm really glad that you're here. It demonstrates a commitment to your education, that you're willing to show up to be with us tonight. So how can you prepare? Let me suggest 3 things. The first one is start planning now on how much time you're going to need to be successful as a student. The biggest surprise that a lot of new college students have is how much time they need to commit to their studies. We usually tell students that you need to plan for at least 2 hours of working outside of class in order to prepare for every 1 hour that you're in class. So, for example, let's say that you're enrolled in 15 credits. There's 1 hour for the class, even if it's virtual, you need to plan for that, plus 2 more hours. That's 3 hours. 15 times 3 is 45. 45 hours during the week you're going to need to commit to your studies. So make sure that you have the time and think about now about how you're going to do this. The second way you can prepare is to make sure that you have the resources that you're going to need now. You've heard that most of the courses are going to be online. So you need a good reliable computer. You're going to need an internet connection. And in a little bit, you're going to hear that Bridgewater will provide those for you if you need those, free of charge. The other thing that you're going to need is you're going to need a place to work. A quiet place with some privacy. So make sure that you think about that now and set that up so you'll have a place to work. So, I know it's comfortable sitting on your couch, doing your homework, watching TV, but that's probably not the best place to do it. And finally, let me suggest that you should talk to those that you live with now about the commitment that you're going to need to make to be successful. So whether or not that's your roommate, or your family that you might live with, or somebody else, make sure you talk to them about what you're going to need to be successful and how you're going to need some time and some privacy to do that. So it might look like you're sitting there watching a movie on Netflix if you're staring at your computer, but hopefully, well, and maybe you will be, but hopefully what you're doing is reading a book online. So they need to know to give you some space to do that.
Thanks, Dr. Miller. There's some other things that we know that our students and families that are here that are so interested in why they chose Bridgewater State University were because of what we would call here our high impact practices. The honors program, undergraduate research, the opportunity to study abroad. With where we're moving forward with our fall planning, will our students still be able to participate in honors program, undergraduate research, or study abroad?
Yes, yes, and no. So we will have the honors program and we will have undergraduate research fully functional in the fall, as they've been in the past. So for most new students, especially if you're a freshman, you might be in the Commonwealth Honors Program, and there are individual course sections set aside for that. The Honors Center will be open, probably virtually, but it will be open to assist you and make sure you're on the right path to do well in your honors programs. Undergraduate research is where students work closely with a faculty in a mentored relationship, and the student does original research. The science labs are already up trying to figure out how we're going to be able to work with students in the labs in a socially distanced way and in a very safe way. And they have ways to make that happen. In the humanities, the social sciences, in the arts, in the education, health fields, and business, those usually are one-on-one, and faculty will work with students through a distance relationship or occasional socially appropriate meetings in order to get that done. Now, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to have study abroad programs this year, at least in the fall. We know that for sure. There's 2 ways that we have study abroad programs. One is the traditional semester exchange, and the other is short-term study tours that students get credit for, usually 1 to 2 weeks. We're hoping we'll be able to get those up and running for the spring semester or certainly for summer 2021, but unfortunately not for the fall. However, the Minnick Center for International Engagement will be doing programming. They'll be available. They'll be willing to work with students to prepare them to be able to travel abroad when we're able to do that.
Thank you very much, Dr. Miller. Thinking about taking courses and studying in 45 hours a week, that's a full-time job, and that's an investment that we want to make sure that our students understand in an educational experience. Not having the chance to just study abroad in the fall, that might be okay because that'll give it additional time for people to see all the experiences that are available over their time that they have being a student at Bridgewater State University. We know that we have students here that are going to be undergraduate, students that are transferring here from another institution, and also our graduate students. I'd like to now introduce to you our Dean of the College of Graduate Studies, Dr. Lisa Kristoff-Bem, with a question for our graduate students. Dr. Bem, are all graduate classes being conducted online?
Thank you for asking that question. In all of our 42 graduate master's degree programs and our many certificates, there are two ways that courses are offered. They will either be offered completely online or they will be blended, as Dr. Young explained, which is a combination of in-person and online. And you'll find even if your courses are completely online, that you have a very rigorous graduate experience that prioritizes community building so that you'll get to interact with the other grad students, which is one of the great joys of being a graduate student.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bem. For those blended courses of coming to campus, we have a lot of questions related to what is the classroom going to look like? And will the library be open? We're pleased to have Dr. Mark Carmody, our Assistant Vice President for Operations, with us. And Dr. Carmody, when I get to campus, what can I expect a typical classroom to look like?
So thanks for the question. We here at BSU have worked hard so far this summer to ensure the 6-foot social distancing guidelines are maintained in all of our classrooms and labs. The classrooms and labs will have reduced seating. There'll be fewer people in the classes. Our custodial staff will be servicing those areas at a minimum twice a day and disinfecting high touch points such as elevator buttons, handrails, and doorknobs throughout their shift multiple times a day. The last point I would make is that we're going to have in every classroom a bare bucket, which will be stocked with disinfectant and gloves and paper towels and information on how to use that should a student want to wipe down their desk or disinfect their area before the class starts or even after it's over.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Dr. Carmody. And also about some buildings being open. For example, the library. Would the library be open?
So yes, the library will be open. It has been open and has remained open throughout the past 4 months. I think when students go there, they can expect to see additional signage reminding them to wear a mask and to follow the safety protocols. They'll see arrows providing direction for flow throughout the library. And in some areas of the library, they'll see reduced seating. But the library will provide all the services that a student needs.
Outstanding. Great. Good to know about that as well. So thank you. We're now going to shift our category away from academics and our learning environment to our financial aid and support. After we talk through financial aid and support, we'll talk about additional student supports and technology support. We're pleased to have part of our panel for talking about financial aid and support, Kim Griffin, who is our Director of Student Accounts, and Laura Beekler, who is our Director of Financial Aid. Kim, an initial question for you is, as a student, will I be charged the same amount for courses that were originally meeting on campus, but now have transitioned to online or a blended format?
Thanks, Joe. That's a great question. The same tuition and student fee structure applies to all courses, and students will not see any change to billing. We're hopeful that the decision to not increase fees for the 2020-2021 academic year will help relieve some of the economic pressure our students and families are facing.
Great, thank you. And we're so appreciative of President Clark and our Board of Trustees that have committed to an incredibly affordable education through the freezing of those fees. Laura, we know that the COVID pandemic has created havoc with our families and trying to move through to be able to make sure that we make an appropriate investment. Ken, and how do I, if I was a family member or student, appeal for additional financial aid as my family and I have experienced large losses financially due to the COVID-19 pandemic?
Good evening, everyone. At Bridgewater State University, the Financial Aid Office is well prepared to handle the situations in the current pandemic of finances that parents and families are experiencing throughout the United States. Specifically here at Bridgewater State University, we are prepared to assist you with any questions that you have in regards to loss of income. We know that the pandemic has definitely created a struggle for many of our families, and the way you do want to set forth with putting forth an appeal would be in writing to the Financial Aid Office. Now, to start, what we actually encourage you to do is reach out to the Financial Aid Office, be it at finaid@bridgew.edu, or call our financial aid main phone number. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask you a couple simple questions. These questions will go through to your financial aid counselor. And then from there, we will see what documentation might be needed or how we can simply help answer your questions. We are well prepared and we're happy to assist with any of the concerns you have with your finances throughout your time here at Bridgewater State University.
Thank you, Laura. And if I decide to defer to spring semester, will my financial aid change?
That's a great question. Here at Bridgewater State University, we are able to actually keep your financial aid the exact same for spring semester. We know that this is a really hard time for seniors, especially coming out of high school, as well as some students just transferring and really questioning if they want to come in the fall. We are happy to have a conversation with you now to go over what it would look like for you to come in the springtime, but we are able to honor every award that we have put out for you to attend, if it be in the fall or be in the spring.
Thank you. That's so assuring to know. And we know that other universities and colleges aren't able to provide that assurance, and we're proud to be able to say that Bridgewater State University is able to do so. Kim, a question with regard to bills. And if people do have questions about their bill, who do they contact?
If you have any questions on your bill, whether it be how you access it, what payment options are available, how to waive or remove the health insurance charge, or you just need help understanding your charges, you can reach out to student accounts. At this time, we are working remotely, but we do have full capability to answer calls and emails Monday through Friday. Our team's ready to help, so we encourage all of you to reach out with any questions that you may have.
Great. Thank you, Kim. Laura, President Clark mentioned about our Student Emergency Fund and the $3.2 billion that are available in a variety of other support. Can you talk and inform our students and their families about the Student Emergency Fund and how to access that?
Sure, absolutely. Here at Bridgewater State University, we have the Financial Aid Office, which really assists you with your federal, state, and local funding. An additional resource that we have and we are well prepared to roll out in the fall is many different areas where we can help students, such as requesting funding for books, student emergencies, such as you're having trouble figuring out how you're going to attend in the fall because of the fact that the pandemic has really, financially hurt your family, and you're trying to make sure that your ends, you have everything tied up to come here in September. We completely understand that, and we're prepared to help you with any resources. The Student Emergency Fund specifically is a unique fund that we have here at Bridgewater, and it's something that a student can tap into by simply filling out a couple different types of applications depending on what the need is. You can access the Student Emergency Fund from the main bridgew.edu webpage right on the landing COVID, or you can go through the Student Financial Aid through Cost and Aid webpage, which is finaid at bridgew.edu. If you are having any trouble accessing or have questions about the Student Emergency Fund, we encourage that you reach out to the Financial Aid Office. We're able to direct you and help you navigate to make sure that you can get to the resources that are there for you to support you. The $3.4 million, along with several other areas of funding, are there for our students to help them in time of crisis. And that is what we strive to do every day, is to assist you. One of the biggest things I can suggest to any student is, while you're here at Bridgewater State University, never be scared to reach out to the Financial Aid Office to ask questions. We are here to help you. And if you don't ask, then we can't help you. But one thing I can assure is if you come and you speak to one of your counselors or financial aid processors, we're going to be able to point you in a direction that's going to be able to assist you with your finances and make sure that your career and your success at this university is going to be pain-free when it comes to finances. We really are here to help you.
Thank you so much, Laura. That's so helpful and reassuring for our families. And again, if I'm a student or family member wanting to get to know who exactly is my financial aid counselor, I go to the financial aid website and I look at whoever is associated with my last name. Is that correct?
Yes, we have several different areas where you can find it, but there's two very simple places to find it. Online, if you go to the financial aid landing page, you will see it over to the right-hand side. If you actually go to our mobile app as well, and you click on the tile for financial aid, you'll see that the financial aid counselors are assigned by the last name of the student. So if your last name is Smith, for example, you will see who is specifically tied to that S for your alphabet split. You can reach out to them directly, or you can call the main phone line, which is always available Monday through Friday, and we can connect you with your financial aid counselor.
Thank you very much, Laura. We're now going to move to our student supports. And after we talk about student supports, we'll then segue into technology support and then testing and health. But right now for our student supports, I'd like to bring back again Dr. Rita Miller, our Dean for Undergraduate Studies. And Dr. Miller, what resources are available to me if I need help learning online? Will faculty have office hours? Will tutoring be available to me? Those are a lot of questions.
There are, but the answer to all of them is yes. So what's going to happen is later this summer, we'll start sending notifications out to students about where they can find resources. One thing I want to encourage every student to do is check your BSU email at least once a day. A lot of good information is conveyed through that. So the information will begin coming to you in the summer. We also throughout the semester will send you some information. The Teaching and Technology Center has a great website and they've got lots of information posted there already. Other resources you should be aware of are available in our Academic Achievement Center. On campus, it's referred to as the AAC. The Academic Achievement Center is the central location for all sorts of resources for learning support. They offer tutoring, the writing studio, the math lab, second language services, all sorts of services that are available to students. They also offer the Student Accessibility Services Office. This used to be known as Disability Resources, and we've changed the name to Student Accessibility Services, or SAS. This is available to any student who might have had accommodations in high school or a previous college. So if you did, please contact SAS and see what they can do to you to provide you with the accommodations that you are legally entitled to have. So the Academic Achievement Center and SAS are available to you. They're located in the library. You can make appointments by going to their webpage, and they have scheduling functions right there. Or call the main number. We'll connect you as soon as we can. Please be sure to tell us what it is you need or what it is you want, and we'll work with you to support your learning. And don't forget that all students can use the Academic Achievement Center services for free. They're available to all students and they will improve your learning a great deal. They are not just for students who are struggling. So let's say you have a B in a class and you want an A. If you do, then use the services and maybe we'll be able to get there together. Faculty will have office hours in the fall semester, probably not in their office though. Typically, faculty set aside 3 hours a week for students to come to their office and talk to them about what's going on in class or to get some mentoring. We probably will not have face-to-face office hours, but they will be available to you virtually or on the phone. So make appointments, talk to your faculty members, ask how you can connect with them one-on-one to learn more. They're happy to have you.
That's so important to know. Thank you very much, Dr. Miller. And you know, Something also to our students and families here, we have a lot of students on this call that they're the first ones in their family actually to go on to college. We call that first generation. And believe it or not, families, a lot of people that are speaking with you this evening as panelists are the first ones in their family to go on to college. We didn't know what questions to ask. You don't know what you don't know. And that is why we are here to help you through that collegiate experience, and information that's been provided to you already and what Dr. Miller just indicated as far as the resources that are available are here for you to be successful. Another part of being successful here, and the support that we provide our students, we are a very diverse, inclusive community, and we ascribe to our values that for equality for all. As a new member of our community, we want you to make sure you understand, respect, and embrace our values statement. Specifically, our values statement indicates that the values of our BSU community is a welcoming, compassionate, and intellectually rigorous learning, working, and living environment. We reject all forms of bias, discrimination, xenophobia, and violence. We commit ourselves to actions that put into practice our individual and institutional values of diversity, inclusion, and equality for all. I'm pleased to introduce to you our Director of our Center for Multicultural Affairs, Sydney Morrow. Sydney, a couple questions that we have are, what resources exist to support the sense of belonging for our Black and Brown students and their white peers?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. Under the leadership of the Division of Student Success and Diversity, we host we have three centers dedicated to supporting the diverse members of our student body: the GLBTA Plus Pride Center, the Military Veterans Center, and the Center for Multicultural Affairs, better known as CMA. In the CMA, we engage in activities and host events specifically designed to support our students of color and their white accomplices. The professional staff and student staff also work collaboratively with 17 plus multicultural student organizations whose activities are overseen by the Center for Student Engagement, with whom we are neighbors in Rondelau Student Union. Our space will be opened with physical distancing and safety precautions in place, because it's important for you to know that the events in which we engage are designed to support your academic and social success. One of our main goals is to complement our colleagues campus-wide to aid in your persistence and graduation. And you've heard about a lot of those places already. So to that end, please know that we will be there to serve you, like I said, physically distancing in the space, and we're always available for one-on-one student meetings virtually, by phone, by email, by whatever means necessary. And I hope to see you there.
Thanks, Sydney. Another follow-up question actually is, as we're moving forward and embracing and supporting social and racial justice, can you explain for us, how does BSU support racial justice?
Well, first, thank you for sharing the value statement, because I think that really highlights BSU's historical commitment to equity, inclusion, and social justice. So to that end, there are many that are on the screen right now, and that I'm sure students have seen in other settings as I've gone through their pause events, where we engage as professionals in conversations and ways and strategies and ways in which we can deal with things of that nature. So we have an anti-racist education group, for example, a racial equity and social justice task force, just to name a few. And we also have the Martin Richards Institute for Social Justice, which is key to our commitment. Lastly, I want to make note that this year, the president announced the formation of the Presidential Task Force on Social Justice in light of the national climate of racial injustice. We will continue to deepen our efforts in order to make substantial contributions on our campus and in the world. So to that end, also, we recognize that we have students who are very committed. So there are a number of student organizations focusing on social justice matters and student activism. One example is the Bridgewater Stands United student organizations made up of a diverse group of students who are addressing ways in which they will educate themselves and the community at large. So it's a great place to be at this point in our time, and I look forward to meeting you.
Great. Wow. Thank you so much, Cindy. There is just
Thank you.
so many opportunities and resources, and maybe so much that sometimes students can get overwhelmed as far as not knowing even who to ask. I'm pleased to introduce to you right now Cecilia de Oliveira, our Director of Student Success and Achievement Gap Initiatives. And Cecilia, question that has come up is, who do I contact if I need support at BSU, but I'm not even sure who to ask?
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Hi, Joe. How are you? So the first thing that I would like to say is to note that all departments on campus are student focused, are student centered, meaning that anybody is here to help you with information and answer your questions and also guide you in the right direction. However, Student Success and Achievement Gap Office has been created to not only inform and help students identify off and on campus resources, but also help you navigate our system, our big campus. So Student Success, in collaboration with all the other departments on campus, we're here to guide, inform, but most importantly, support you to make sure that you have the best experience while you're attending BSU. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cecilia. We're now going to move to talk a little bit about technology. After we talk about technology, we'll be visiting with others with regard to testing in our health, as well as cleaning and disinfecting. So I'd like to introduce to you right now our Chief Information Officer and our Vice President for Information Technology, Steve Zaromsky. Steve, a couple questions that we have are, what can I do if I don't have reliable access to technology necessary for online classes?
Hi, Joe, and hello, everyone. Great question. You can expect a very rich technology experience at Bridgewater State University. And to that end, the university has a pool of technology, laptops, iPads, Chromebooks to loan to you at no charge. If internet or reliable internet is a concern, we also have loaner wireless hotspots as well. All of this technology can be loaned out through the circulation desk at the Maxwell Library. It's important to note that campus computer labs are also open in our Maxwell Library and in our Moakley Center, all arranged with proper physical distancing and regular cleaning schedules. And one real innovative piece of technology is something we call Cloud PC, which allows you to connect to a fully functioning Windows 10 computer in the cloud, fully loaded with academic software, anytime, from anywhere, and on any device. And of course, we provide high quality technology support as well. Our IT service center is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call, email, or chat.
Outstanding. And so with that, Steve, what resources are available to assist students in being successful with taking those online classes?
Yeah, another great question. So to build on what Dr. Miller said earlier, the university's put a lot of great resources together to help you navigate and become even more successful learning online. We just put a nice new website together loaded with helpful resources, technology requirements and support, videos, and success strategies. Visit our website and you'll find the link under the FAQ section. And I highly encourage you to visit our website very regularly as we keep that current up to date. And finally, visit our friends in the Academic Achievement Center. They are here to make sure you are successful and they really do want to help.
Fantastic. Nothing but the top-notch technology for our outstanding students. We're going to move now away from technology and start talking about testing and also after that about cleaning and disinfecting. Our director, our executive director of our wellness center, Dr. Chris Frazier, is joining us so we can as we have a few questions related to testing. So Dr. Frazier, will students be required to undergo testing?
Good evening, Joe. Thanks for asking. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, so all of our students joining our residential community will be doing so understanding that they're agreeing to be tested every other week once they come to campus. We'll do an onboard testing of everyone on campus, and then people will be tested every other week going forward as we move through the semester.
And what kind of testing is this going to be?
Yeah, great question. So there's a bunch of different kinds of tests out there that people might have heard of. And really, there was really only one option for us at Bridgewater State, and that's something called PCR or molecular testing. That's the best test that gives us the best chance for an accurate result of knowing both whether you have COVID and being a little bit more certain about whether you don't once we've finished with the test. So we've been fortunate to partner with the Broad Institute, which is a giant genomics lab run out of MIT and Harvard. So they're a fantastic institution that's getting us the high quality PCR testing with an incredibly fast turnaround of 24 hours from when we collect the samples. The samples are being collected through a simple nasal swab. That's an anterior nasal swab. So just kind of a small Q-tip right barely inside the nostril is all we need to get the sample. And that'll be done under the supervision of our health services staff, collected and sent off to be tested. And students will get their results within 24 hours.
Outstanding. And just so everyone knows, if you had the chance to read the Boston Globe, it was either today or yesterday, there is an article about how Harvard, MIT, and a variety of other institutions are joining the Broad Institute for the testing. And we are, as Dr. Fraser indicated, one of those institutions. So we're very pleased to be able to have that opportunity to share with you that, that relationship. But it is a concern maybe for some, thinking, well, who's going to pay for that? So Dr. Fraser, who is paying for the testing? Is it going through insurance?
Yeah, so good question. And I know that's been a concern for a lot of people. So all the asymptomatic testing is going to be paid for by Bridgewater State University. So all this testing that you're hearing about that would happen every other week, that's us paying for that. You know, any tests, people might also need a test if they, in between their regular surveillance testing cycle. And so if someone showed up to the wellness center and was feeling ill, we'd run that test through insurance because in the state of Massachusetts, that's covered 100%. So basically, the thing to remember about this is that we're doing everything we can to make sure that there's no cost passed on to you or to anyone receiving the tests. So we'll figure that out. And I think some people have asked questions sometimes about out-of-state insurances. And what I can tell you is this, you know, we're going to work with you and figure that out and make sure that no cost is passed on to the students.
Thank you. That's again very reassuring to hear. Thanks, Chris. Now, what would happen if a student tests positive for COVID-19?
Yeah, so this is really the important part of doing all this testing and having our contact tracing apparatus in place. The moment a student tests positive, they'll be contacted by our health services team, you know, and by our contact tracing team on campus, and asked to isolate. So students can isolate on campus, and we have a well-detailed procedure for how we would make them comfortable on campus while isolating. Or some students might choose to go home during the isolation process, and that's okay. We're going to give you a chance to identify what that plan might be in a survey we're going to send out to you in a few weeks. But we're going to be making sure that we take care of anyone on campus with daily checks if you're isolating on campus to make sure that you're doing okay and getting everything you need. The second piece is that enacts our need to do some contact tracing. So through our partnership with IT and facilities on campus, we have a really robust apparatus for contact tracing that's really going to let us notify anyone that might have been in the same area as that student that's tested positive for COVID-19 and get some advice and guidance to those students quickly in a way that'll help us mitigate any further spread. So we have a really nice process in place that we've kind of built from the ground up, and then we'll be collaborating with the Bridgewater Board of Health for anything that reaches beyond our borders.
Fantastic, just an incredible, huge team approach for this, for the safety and health and safety of our students and our community as well. We're going to now pivot to our cleaning and disinfecting and asking a few questions of Dr. Mark Carmody, our Assistant Vice President of Operations. And following that, we'll be having conversations with our team from residence life as well as student life. So Dr. Carmody, with regard to cleaning and disinfecting, and for those of us that are coming to campus, living on campus, specifically for classrooms, what can I expect with regard to cleaning and disinfecting classrooms and other areas of campus?
Well, Joe, thanks again for the question. I think for our custodial team and really for all of us, we take great pride in the quality of cleaning and disinfecting that takes place in all of our buildings across the campus. some of the examples of spaces that we take care of: common spaces, classrooms, labs, and residence halls. How we do it, we accomplish the work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week using 3 shifts of employees. During the COVID pandemic, the other piece that we are doing that I mentioned prior to this was cleaning and disinfecting high touch points such as doorknobs and hand railings and elevator buttons. And we're doing that multiple times a day. And so in general, that's what you can expect when you come onto campus for your in the classroom environment.
Great. Well, this is incredibly good to know. Another portion of this is not only is it about the cleaning and disinfecting, but about air quality, specifically indoor air quality. How does BSU manage this?
Well, I certainly appreciate this question and the concern, and I would address the question in 3 ways, or make 3 points, I think. One is that all the buildings on campus meet or exceed the ventilation air change rate standards established by ASHRAE, and ASHRAE is the American Society for Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning Engineers, and they set the professional standards for the buildings. The second point that I would make is that our building preventative maintenance program ensures that all of the buildings have timely air filter changes, and that helps make sure our systems all run efficiently and, most importantly, safely. And the last point that I would make is that the filters we use are per manufacturer's specifications for the type of equipment that's in each building. And so I think people should have confidence that they'll be safe here as they live and learn.
Thank you so much. And we don't take anything for granted. I really appreciate this information that you shared with us, Mark. So now we're going to move to residence life and student life. And I'd like to introduce to you our Director of Residence Life and Housing, Justin McCauley. Justin, quite a few questions have come on in related to residence life. So and especially because next week for our new students that are coming to us, I believe that's the selecting which residence hall and roommate. So can you briefly talk about what residence hall and roommate selection is going to be?
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. Thank you. And great question. It's an exciting time, especially for our new students or our transfer students and our grad students that are coming to live on campus with us in the fall. So as Joe mentioned, next week, we're conducting our online room selection process, which is a great process because at Bridgewater, we give the ability for students to select online the residence hall they want to live in, the room they want to live in, and the roommate they want to live in, so they can adapt and choose their path in those pieces. So as our new bears know, we had rescheduled our online room selection and moved it back so that we could allow for our students and parents and families some time to gain context and make the right decision for themselves. So next week, starting on July 22nd, our transfer students and graduate students will select their housing assignments, and our students living in our LLCs or other optional housing opportunities will select their room assignments. And then on the 23rd and the 24th, our new incoming first-year students will go through the process and select their roommates, buildings, and rooms. So we're excited for this process to get underway, and we're looking forward to having folks make their selections.
It is a really exciting time for our new students. And after that residence hall and roommate selection is completed, when will we know more about move-in day? And also, with regard to move-in day, how are you going to safely move us all into the residence halls?
Yeah, very important questions, Joe. So in terms of, like I said, we'll complete room selection next week, and then we'll take that next week to process and get a sense of who's in which buildings and start putting together our communications to outreach to our students that will be moving on campus at the end of August. And what we'll be telling you at that point in time via your Bridgewater email account, so please be sure to be checking your Bridgewater email account always. What we'll be telling you is that we'll be extending our move-in days or our move-in process. We had originally been scheduled for new students to move in on Saturday, August 29th. What we're going to do is extend that move-in window over the course of a couple of days. And we're doing that because safety has to be first and foremost and is the most important piece of this process. So starting on Thursday, the 27th, and then daily through September 1st, the day before classes begin, we'll be offering students the opportunity to go online. We will email you a link with your room assignment and a link to go in and select a day and a shift during the day where you'll be able to move in with 2 family members or friends to help you move in during a time period where only 8 to 10 other residents in your residential facility will be moving in at the same time. And we're doing this to maximize everybody's ability to physically distance in our lobbies, our elevators, our hallways, and as you're going into your rooms. We want to make sure that this process is as safe as possible for our students and their families.
Excellent. So that's a very strategic and safe approach, which is greatly appreciated. So now a few other questions that, we know that there's some other colleges and universities for students that live on campus that are basically saying that you need to stay. Once you arrive, you can't go anyplace else. Can you help us understand for our resident students, can they leave campus to go to work or to go home?
Yeah, and that's been a common question that we've received, Joe, and a very good one. So at Bridgewater State University, we're a regionally serving university, and we know many of our students choose to come here for a high quality education, but also the opportunity to stay near their families, their communities, and the jobs that they utilize to support them while they're going through school. So we know that it's important for our students to be able to come and go from campus for these important reasons. So we would never ask students to not do that. What we are asking though is that students still utilize the same good common sense in terms of physically distancing when they're going off campus, wearing masks in public, and just making good overall health decisions while they're out in their communities, so that they're not bringing anything out to their communities nor back to campus as they come and go.
Thank you, Justin. So with living close to the area or an hour away or maybe 2 hours away and having family visit or guests that are not part of the university, why are we not allowed to have guests visit us in the residence halls, especially if we're, as Dr. Fraser indicated, if we're being tested regularly for COVID-19, why are we not allowed to have guests in the residence halls?
Yeah, Joe, that's the most common question that we're asked. And it's a very important one, and I'm glad to explain that so that students and potential guests can understand. We certainly know that connections to family and friends and to your peers that are living on campus in other residence halls or maybe coming in for class are important, but we have made the decision to not allow guests into the residence halls. And to define guests, that means for our purposes, anybody who doesn't live in a specific residential facility. And we do that for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, we're being very mindful of managing our occupancy or the capacity in our residence halls, particularly the public common spaces. So if you're thinking about the students that already live there, walking through hallways, utilizing restrooms, being in the lobby, utilizing the elevators, we're trying to manage the amount of people that are in the residence halls at any given time. So that's a big part of why we're not adding guests to that mix. And then also in terms of why when we have students testing, I think it's important to know, as effective as testing and as important as it is so that we can understand and help students, your test result is only as good as the moment that you took your test. So particularly, I was just talking about students who may be accessing their communities or working a job. If they're doing so after taking a test, what we want to do is manage who's in what spaces, particularly in the residence halls, because we know residence hall facilities, by the nature of their space where people live and relax, are utilized differently than, say, the library, the campus center, the dining halls, etc. So we're very mindful of doing this to make sure that we're protecting our students and our faculty and staff and community on campus.
Thank you, Justin. Very reasonable expectations. Another question that we have is with regard to housing deposits, and as families are making decisions as we move forward, do I have to live on campus if I've already paid my housing deposit or completed my license agreement or even have selected a room?
Yeah, very important question right there. And the answer is no, you don't have to. We, of course, very much so understand the circumstances of the pandemic and the financial effects it's having on everybody, and particularly our students and the folks in our community. So in Residence Life and Housing, we've made the decision to offer our resident students, even if you've paid your deposit, even if you've completed your license agreement, or if you have selected or soon to select a room, you have the opportunity up until August 7th to let us know that you would like to withdraw from housing without any kind of financial penalty. And you can do that by going onto the My Housing app, and in the Applications tab, you can fill out the withdrawal form. And what the withdrawal form will ask is if you would like to withdraw and have your deposit refunded, or if you would like to withdraw and utilize your deposit for the spring semester. We want to give you some flexibility in that decision, because we know for some students, the question isn't, or the answer to the question, do I want to live on campus, isn't just, no, I don't want to. It's, I don't want to right now. So we want to give you the opportunity to come back home when you're ready.
Great, thank you. Because we did also have a few questions related specifically to housing deposit refunds or using it for the spring semester, and you answered that. So fantastic. Thank you, Justin. Laura, for Laura Beekler, our Director of Financial Aid, a follow-up question for you related to residence life or living on campus. Does my financial aid award change if I decide to not live on campus?
That's a good question. We're hearing that a lot from students, and just to let you know, when you complete the FAFSA, if you did complete an application for financial aid, you select if you're going to live with parent, off campus in an apartment, or on campus, and we do award you based on those answers. So we know that this is a time where you're trying to figure out what you want to do, and we would just ask that you reach out to the financial aid office if you intend on using financial aid, so that we can get the most accurate award to you. It does change slightly if you're living on campus versus at home. So we just want to kind of go over those changes with you. You know, it doesn't take very long to process, probably about 48 hours once we hear what you decide. And then you can connect with your financial aid counselor to really look at how your bill might adjust, and then your anticipated financial aid and what it'll look like for the fall semester. So we do encourage you, once you do make that decision, just to double check it before you get started in your classes. It just helps to make sure you're off to a good start in September.
Great, thank you. So when in doubt, email or call financial aid. There you go. So we talked a little bit about residence life, and now talking about the more broad experience about student life. And I'm pleased to introduce to you our Dean of Students and Associate Vice President, Deneen Rocco. Deneen, we have a question here related to campus life. And will it be or will it not be a full experience? What are the guidelines for student activities, workshops, clubs that will happen for this fall?
Really good question, Joe. And I think that's a question that campuses across the country are being asked. And when it comes to that, probably none of us, no campus, will be able to deliver as full an experience as everyone would like. But the way that I have been looking at that is that your campus experience will be as full as you want to make it. And we will do our best to support that. We've been working really hard to maximize all the student experiences in the safest way possible, with the guidance that will be in place as we begin the fall semester. So what we've learned in the spring semester, actually, when we were all remote, is that our BSU community is not defined by our physical space. We will be physically distancing, but not socially distancing. So what I'd say to that is, wherever students are learning, at home or elsewhere or in the residence halls, there'll be opportunities to engage safely and creatively with other students, faculty, and staff outside the classroom experience. We all believe strongly that this is an important part of learning and campus life. And research tells us that those students who are engaged with their campus community are more likely to be successful. So with that in mind, we have hundreds of opportunities to engage. You've heard about a number of them here this evening. I would add to that that our student organizations, of which we have over 100, are sort of so eager to get back and to meet all of you and to welcome you to learn a little bit about them and to welcome your participation safely and creatively.
Thanks, Deneen. So knowing there's over 100 student organizations and a variety of opportunities, how, if I'm a parent or if I'm an incoming student, what are some examples, or how can I become involved with college life?
Right, so there are any number of ways to do that. You'll learn about those opportunities. You can get a jump and go online to our involvement network. We call it the IN network, where you can peruse what campus clubs and organizations we have available. And we'll have usually every year we have an in-person activities fair where students can come and interact with folks. We're going to have a virtual fair of sorts where folks can interact with individuals and learn a little bit about when club and organizations meet, how and what activities they're up to. And so there'll be a lot of opportunities. You'll probably hear it more times than you'd like, but it's important. Check your email, respond to your text messages, and you'll find out a lot of information. And you might hear a little bit more from some others about those opportunities too, Joe.
Great. All right. Thank you so much, Deneen. Well, many of you that are on this town hall meeting or participating in the town hall meeting have heard from orientation leaders. Have you gone through perhaps some pause or pre-advising workshops, talked with or been advised by your academic advisors, are now actually started with online orientation that rolled out last week. Pleased to introduce to you Christina McCauley, who is our director, one of our directors within our Center for Student Engagement that has direct oversight with orientation. So Christina, a question that we have is, what will my transition look like as a new student to Bridgewater State University in the first few weeks of school?
Yeah, that's a very important question. And hello to all of our new students and families. It's been great being able to connect with you and go along this journey. So like any transition, it will take time to get into your groove. We can all attest to that. Every semester it feels like a big transition. And you know, it's important that you know that it's going to take time for you to identify what support systems are available to you, but also what ones you need. And that this can change, and it's going to change during your journey here at Bridgewater State University. But what's really important is please know that you're not going to do this alone. BSU is a dedicated and caring community committed to you and your success. You know, whether you're living in the residence halls, you're living elsewhere, or if BSU is a new campus to you, remember that you have hurdled several transitions before BSU. Middle school to high school, getting a driver's license, starting a new job, registering for your first college courses. At BSU, there are so many resources ready to assist you in a variety of ways, and you've been hearing that throughout this town hall. You know, as the semester gets closer, and during the first few weeks of classes, you'll have folks reaching out to assist you through email, text messages, phone calls, social media, our amazing mobile app, you name it. All you need to do is open that email or pick up that call, and we will be there on the other end ready to help. You know, and when I say we, I think it's really important to really express what our community looks like. You know, these folks that are going to be assisting you and supporting you are our staff, our faculty, our librarians, coaches, the administration, alumni. We have involved family members of returning students there to assist our incoming family members, our amazing student leaders like resident assistants, orientation leaders, our student government association, and of course, your fellow students that you're going to be in classes with. So please know that even though with many courses being online, it's important to acknowledge that Though we are physically distancing, we are 100% socially available, and we are ready to connect with you. There will be opportunities to meet fellow students, to explore interests, to find your people, if you will, and to reach out of your comfort zone. It just may come in a different packaging. We look forward to connecting with you more. You know, as you have questions, please make sure you continue to ask them. And, you know, this has been such a journey, and I really honestly cannot wait to connect with you further as we continue and start our classes, and hopefully this was helpful for you. So thank you, Joe.
Oh, thank you, Christina. And hopefully our students and our new students and families are starting to pick up on a little bit change of language that we're using here at Bridgewater State University. You'll hear that more or less that, well, we are saying physical distancing as opposed to social distancing. That has become the norm across the United States. It is something that we want to make sure that you understand. It is about the physical distancing because we so know about the importance of the social interaction, which can be done virtually or appropriately distanced with physical proximity. And we just want to make sure that you recognize that here. Some things that we also need to talk about, not only have we talked about shelter, we need to talk about food. So Mark Carmody, I'm going to ask you again a few questions. Mark, again, our Assistant Vice President for Operations, talking about our dining halls. So will our dining halls be open, and what options do students have beyond eating in the dining halls?
So yeah, that's a real important topic, Joe. Almost all of our dining will be open. It's conveniently arrayed across the campus. So, you know, each venue offers a little bit different environment and pretty easy to get to. Students will be able to dine in, but they'll have to expect reduced seating, signage that reminds them of the safety protocols, and some directional arrows that show them the flow of people. As far as options go, they could dine in, or they could use the grab and go with the prepackaged food, or they could call ahead using the Grubhub app and then pick that meal up. We also have Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts that will be open and operating as well.
So our meal plans are not only for our residential students, but for our commuter students. So basically you're saying that the meal plan options will stay the same and as you just indicated with the grab and go? So
in general, yes. We offer 4 meal plans, and it's a little bit of detailed information, but Platinum, which offers 145 meal swipes and 780 dining dollars, or Gold, which offers 495 meal swipes and 370 dining dollars, or Silver, 80 meal swipes and 550 dining dollars, or Bronze, which is 15 meal swipes and 400 dining dollars, which is intended for our student apartment residents and our commuters. Each of those offers a variety of options and ways that people can use our dining on campus.
Great. Thank you, Mark. Now, also for our commuter students, also our residential students, is the way in which students get around on campus if they're not driving. More or less our shuttle and our bus services. So can you talk a little bit about, will we continue our shuttle and bus services, and how will they be cleaned?
So yeah, the answer is yes. Our bus and shuttles will continue to run. There will be changes. The passenger limits are going to be 50% less than the normal capacity. So most of our shuttles and buses will be about 20 students. Our largest buses will have 30 students capacity. But because of the reduced capacity, we're planning to run increased buses and increased routes to make sure that we service students and address the waiting time.
Excellent. All right. Thank you.
In regard to cleaning,
yeah.
There's 2 ways that we plan to keep the buses and shuttles clean and safe for students. The first is that drivers will be continuously cleaning the shuttles and buses through when breaks in the routes and at the end of every route. And once in every 24-hour period, all of our buses and shuttles will be thoroughly disinfected using our hydrostatic sprayers.
Okay, excellent. Those hydrostatic sprayers. I see that. That's 3 times. Last, I'd like to introduce to you Mike Froyo. Mike is our Assistant Chief of our University Police. Mike, can you talk a little bit about the police force at Bridgewater State University and their role with COVID-19 for the fall semester?
Sure. Thank you, Joe. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for attending. So the BSU Police Department is charged with the protection of the lives and property of our students, faculty, staff, and visitors, as well as the streets and other passageways adjoining university property. Police Department staff work closely with our community members to prevent crime, solve problems, and take proactive steps to make BSU as safe as possible. BSU police officers, many of whom are certified EMTs, often respond to medical situations on campus, and particularly in the residence halls. You should be assured that we are prepared to respond to such situations and take appropriate action for the care and protection of all concerned.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Welcome.
So as we close for this evening, you heard it from President Clark, all the resources that we have made available and focusing on the safe and healthy return and for you coming to our campus. We do this because we treat every single student, one student at a time at Bridgewater State University. We've been able to share with you how we plan for our academics and the learning environment, our access to technology, our financial aid and support, our additional student supports, our testing and tracing and our wellness of our students, including cleaning and disinfecting, as well as residence life and student life. We want to sum it up that the importance of college is so incredibly valuable, and you're going to be making incredible decisions and the right decisions to join us as a bear at Bridgewater State University. It's critical that you keep the momentum of continuing your education and as President Clark indicated, to lean in to this new environment. We are here to support you along the way, and we have our responsibilities, every one of us, to do this. As participants for this meeting, you will be receiving an email after the meeting ends that will have the university contact list and email addresses for any additional questions. And also, as you come to campus, be ready because we will be providing you with a BSU mask. That's an additional perk. I want to thank the panelists, thank Dr. Smaley and President Clark for joining us this evening. And remember, as you've heard from a variety of us, download that mobile app. Check your emails, respond to your texts. And as we close, stay healthy, stay safe. We are looking so forward to you joining us at Bridgewater State University, where every day is a great day to be a bear. Be well, my friends. We'll see you soon.